Most people quit before the candy comes out. They don't stick around long enough. They think they're making progress, then they don't. They think they're making progress, then they don't. And eventually, because no candy's coming out, no money, no changed body, no amazing relationship, they stop swinging the bat at the pinata.
Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast, where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
Hi, and welcome back to the Philosopher Insights podcast. Today's bite, I'm bringing back Ed Mylett. I believe this is his second time on my podcast, and he's one of my favorite speakers. But today he brings a very important message and something that I can resonate with just with my recent experience. And that is, do you have life's number one skill? And he claims that the number one skill, over and above everything else, is the ability not to quit. And it really is an ability. It really is a talent that you need to develop because the majority of people spend their lives quitting. So I want to share a personal example that I've noticed as I started this podcast. And I actually saw it in social media some years ago as well. Prior to starting my own podcast, I started searching and just evaluating the different types of podcasts that are out there. And what I discovered, the majority of the time, I'd find a podcast with a great cover art, a great title. It sounded like an amazing podcast that I'd love to listen to. And I open it up, and it has a trailer episode from 2020. It has 5 episodes. So what happened to those people? What happens to the majority of podcasts that only have 1 episode, 5 episodes, 20 episodes? Something happens, and poof, they're gone. They don't have the ability, the number one skill, to continue, to keep going, because podcasting to me is a great example of you're not going to see the results right away. You start a brand new podcast if you don't already have a huge following like Mel Robbins, who just started a podcast and blew it out of the water. But if you don't have that kind of following, you have to be patient and you have to be willing to accept the pain of not seeing that many downloads. But that doesn't mean that your podcast is failing. It doesn't mean that your social media is failing. Just means that you've got to put in more time and you've got to show up consistently and you've got to be in it for the long haul. That is the difference between people who succeed at podcasting, at social media, at business, at health. They're able to stick to it way beyond the people that don't see any progress and then they quit. I hope that going into 2023, you can look back and recall this incredible talk by Ed Mylett, because maybe you're starting a dream in 2023. Maybe you're starting on something that you're totally out of your comfort zone. And for you, you're going to have to remember that whether that's a podcast or you're going to start a new business or whatever it is you're going to do, that you're going to have to bear the pain and you're going to have to accept the fact that the results don't come right away. And the key, the number one skill, again, is just don't quit. Maybe you're going into 2023 after 1, 2, 3, 5 years of really pushing it and still not seeing the results that you like. But again, you don't have any idea how close you are. You don't know if the next swing, as Ed's going to talk about, the very next swing could be the breakthrough that you need. As I mentioned, this is only a snippet of Ed's talk, and you can find the entire talk on YouTube. I've outlined the title in the show notes. If you're interested in what he's saying in this short snippet, please listen to the entire talk. It's incredible. Here is Ed Mylett.
Remember this, the best ability is availability. Did you hear that? The best ability is availability, that you are available to win. Not enough people understand that this is an actual skill and talent. Most people in business or in life, whether it be relationships or the financial part of their life, they're always looking for these little tips and skills that you should develop. I believe the greatest talent that you can draw a line through all the people who have won, and yes, it is a talent, it is a skill of not quitting. I'm resilient. I own the number one skill, the number one talent required to eventually win. I already have. I can't quit. You'd have to kill me to get me out of chasing my dream, right? So number one, I want to point it out as the number one gift. The best ability is availability. Literally millions of people quit on one of their dreams, their dream relationship, their dream business, their dream body, So quitting has become the number one habit in the world by people that end up losing. And I'm telling you, it happens every day, every second, everywhere. You can develop skills. You can develop talents. Gifts are something you're born with. But life's a lot like a pinata. Have you seen the pinata before? And it's an unbelievable metaphor for life. It's just like building your new business. It's just like trying to transform your body. It might be just like this brand new relationship you've got. And in fact, the people around them are in danger in the beginning when you give these little guys this bat. Maybe that sounds familiar. Maybe right now you're at this stage in your business, or you've been there before, where there's been more damage done than there's been progress. You know what I'm talking about? The people around you have been more hurt by your new venture than benefited from it. There's been a lot of damage. But what do we do with these little guys? We eventually take the little girl or the little boy and we point them in the right direction at the pinata. That's when you find Ed Mylett's podcast. You find his teachings. You find his YouTube channel, or someone like me, and I can point you in the right direction. And then what do these guys do? They take the bat and they're hitting the pinata as hard as they can, and they're hitting it and they're hitting it and they're hitting it, and no candy comes out. And they get tired, don't they? And they can't go anymore. So what do? You get help. And you add a teammate, you add a friend, you take the blindfold off of you and you get a little help. It doesn't look like it, but each shot on that pinata is putting them closer to the candy. Even though it doesn't seem like it, even though you can't see the candy, every blow is like a compound pounding effect. That pounding, compounded by multiple people, eventually can create a breakthrough. But what most people do is they leave the party before the candy comes out. That's true in business. Most people quit before the candy comes out. They don't stick around long enough. They think they're making progress, then they don't. They think they're making progress, then they don't. And eventually, because no candy's coming out, no money, no changed body, no amazing relationship, they stop swinging the bat at the pinata. But if you stick around for the party long enough, you know what always happens with a pinata? Eventually, someone hits it, and bam, the candy comes out everywhere, and everyone celebrates and gets all the candy and dives on it and celebrates. Here's what I'm here to remind you of today. You got to stick around long enough for the candy to come out. You got to wait for the candy to come out of that pinata called your life, called your business, called your body, called your relationships. The vast majority of people in life don't stick around for the candy because they think as they're hitting the pinata of their life, they don't think they're making progress. It doesn't feel like progress. But I'm telling you, the number one ability is availability. And if you keep swinging away every day, even though it doesn't feel like it, you are getting closer to the candy. You're getting closer. My prayer for you is that you begin to think about this analogy. The pinata of your life, the pinata of your business, the pinata of your body. As you're swinging away, I'm here to tell you, even though it doesn't feel like it, you're getting closer to the candy. It's okay that you feel disoriented. It's okay that it feels blinding and you don't know exactly what direction to go. It's okay that you miss it once in a while. It's okay that you get tired once in a while. But as long as you keep after it and you keep pounding away that compound effort of your pounding, I can promise you there's candy someday. And everybody around you will jump on it and celebrate. That's my wish for you. Today, if you don't develop the talent, the number one skill in the world, which is to keep hitting the pinata and to stick around until the candy comes out, because here's the deal. Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That pinata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrifice it and maybe hurting the people around you and never get the candy? Or are you going to get something for your pain? Are you going to get something for your effort? Are you going to get something for this sacrifice you're making? You got to get something for this pain. You got to stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. That's what I want you focused on today. I promise you there's a pinata in your life, and right now many of you feel blind and disoriented, maybe even hurting the people around you. Some of you are past that phase and you're hitting your thing hard every day, but there's no candy yet. I promise you there's going to be a payoff for you. I hope you give yourself credit if you're not a quitter. Credit for you already possessing the number one skill for you to get the candy.
You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Lambert. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To go deeper with me, you can register for free at www.philosopherinsights.com for instant access to a growing library of Philosopher Insights, which are 8 to 10 page PDFs, plus 20-minute MP3s that break down my favorite insights from the world's best personal development books. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Facebook at Optimal Herb. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.